I just recently watched the new Suicide Squad movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, you should go watch it because it was damn good. Harley was an unexpected beast in this movie, which made me wonder how a fight between her and Black Widow from the MCU would go down. Unfortunately, it looked like Danko beat me by a day, so I wasn't sure if I was going to do the video or not. However, he said Black Widow would win, and most people seem to agree with that. But I'm gonna be a contrarian and argue why Harley Quinn, the crazy clown bitch, would actually be the victor if they were to fight. Now, I think this would actually be a really close one, as the stats between these characters are pretty close, and a well-placed bullet would result in permanent night-night for either of them. But from what I've seen, Harley's just blatantly stronger, more durable, more ruthless, and of course, more crazy. Let's start with physical strength. Harley was able to strangle a man with her legs, and literally do a pull-up, hoisting him completely off the ground, and holding her arms in a flexed position for an extended period of time, finishing him off by snapping his neck with her legs like BDSM gone wrong. This is easily a superhuman feat, especially for a woman of her size. To further back up her superhuman strength, she straight up jumps over a dozen feet like a rocket while holding a large metal spear. While Natasha has some pretty impressive strength feats as well, I don't remember her doing anything quite on the level of these two feats. Next on to durability. Danko brought up how Black Widow fell from a tall building, but she landed on multiple things on her way down, which would actually help break her fall, and she was still clearly hurt by it. Harley, on the other hand, fell from a helicopter with nothing to break her fall on the way down, and landed right into a roll and kept on running. This seems quite a bit more impressive to me. In the other fall Danko showed, Black Widow was being carried by Hulk, and just fell off him when they landed, so Hulk most likely absorbed most of the impact, making it hard to attribute that feat to Black Widow. Harley also has a bunch of other great durability feats, like being hit by a car so hard she was flung into the side of a van, and barely taking any damage to the point she could get back up and continue chasing and fighting. Being kicked so hard she knocked the car door right off its hinges, again taking virtually no damage, and taking a direct hit from Incubus and getting right back up. In terms of skill, these characters are very close. I would actually probably give the edge to Black Widow on this one, but I think the gap is small enough to the point where I think it's basically irrelevant, especially due to how much stronger and tougher Harley is in comparison. Both characters are able to go through hallways of goons due to their skill, but Harley does it faster and bloodier, and honestly just visually more impressive. In terms of shooting ability, both are amazing, and I don't think Harley is really any worse, considering she can shoot trained soldiers coming from all sides without taking a single hit or even looking at some of them. She's also accurate enough to land a headshot on a guy who had a hostage covering a good portion of his head. I think both Harley and Black Widow have a good chance of doming each other, but Harley's way more ruthless, having no hesitation in shooting a guy she just slept with, and I honestly don't remember Black Widow having shooting feats on the same level as Harley. However, that was mostly skill in terms of fighting against fodder. Danko does bring up a good point on how Black Widow has much more experience fighting high-level opponents. The problem with that is she loses most of her relevant fights. It's no surprise that Proxima Midnight or Winter Soldier would get the better of her considering they're both supposed to be superhuman, but even Crossbones, who's for all intents and purposes supposed to be a regular human, got the better of her. Taskmaster got the better of her as well, and as far as I'm aware, Taskmaster wasn't physically a super soldier, though mentally her fighting skill was superhuman level, and she clearly has some superhuman level feats. Black Widow is also shown to go head-to-head with Hawkeye, but then again, he's also supposed to be a regular human. Danko also brings up the Red Room, but the other widows are only really hyped as being impressive due to them being widows like Natasha and her sister. But Natasha was beating a bunch of them at once, so you can't scale them to her because they're literally losing to her with a numbers advantage. At that point, they're just stronger than normal fodder. And Natasha still loses to them anyways. And it's not like Harley's never fought anyone strong before. Like I mentioned, she got hit by Incubus and got right back up. And Incubus honestly seems stronger than the Black Order members Natasha fought. At the very least, he should be comparable. And he obviously hits way harder than Black Widow. So if a strike from him doesn't even put Harley down, I don't see what chance Natasha does. Harley also managed to slice Enchantress's chest open with a katana and rip her heart out with her bare hand. And Enchantress was bulletproof. She was also able to pull some crazy move where she did a flip while handcuffed and somehow put the handcuffs on the other person. Black Widow does have her widow bites, but Harley's shown she could take constant electric shocking as torture, and is good at faking being knocked out. So if Natasha lands one of those, Harley may go down, but then catch Natasha by surprise in a counterattack. Crossbones was able to resist Natasha's electricity, so I don't think something like that would be completely out of the question, especially if Natasha underestimates her. Speaking of gear they could use, if Harley uses her bazooka, there isn't much Black Widow could do against that. Though to be fair, Harley doesn't usually have weaponry that powerful on her. That's about all I have to say on the topic. Do you agree that the feats I showed prove Harley's actually the greater live-action female comic book character? Or am I forgetting something that would actually indicate Natasha should win this fight? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to see more MCU or DCU content. I already have a tier list ranking all the MCU characters in terms of strength, and one day I plan on doing one for the DCEU as well. I'm also willing to hear what you guys want to see in the future, so if you guys have any video ideas you want to see, let me know, and if I like your idea, I just may do it. I'm gonna head back to my mother's basement for now. Wake me up when the next good DCEU movie comes out.